Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Cross Country Rivals podcast. My name is Talat. Thank you for joining me. We have a lot to get into today, so I'm going to jump right into it. First, I want to say congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces and their 2023 WNBA championship. It's well deserved. Team is stacked. Becky Hammon is a marvelous coach, and I'm excited for the future of the WNBA. It's going to be really, really awesome. Moving forward, the NBA has started, and we are a couple days in, so we have a lot to go over, and there's been some really good action. All the games have been just wonderful. And to start it off, we have the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets had their ring ceremony. They had their ring night. It was wonderful. I love ring nights. And they played the Los Angeles Lakers. We all know how that went last season when they swept them in the Western Conference Finals to eventually become NBA champions. They went to the finals and beat the Miami Heat. They did beat the Lakers in this opener, 119-107. Nikola Jokic had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, a block, and a steal. I mean, what more can you say about that guy? He's the best player in the NBA. He's a two-time MVP, and he makes it look so effortless. It's really, really special. That team is showing why they're still the team to beat. They're a juggernaut. I mean, Jamal Murray, 21 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. It's not like outstanding numbers, but when he's on the court, he just makes such a difference for that team, and he's so important to them. We all know the story with LeBron played under 30 minutes. The Lakers are going to try to keep him under 30 minutes this year, and we know the story with Anthony Davis and not scoring in the second half. His inconsistency issues crop up. I am not a Lakers fan, so I can't imagine kind of the frustration that Laker fans must feel, because you know what his talent is there. But the Lakers basically ran it back. They added Gabe Vincent. They added Christian Wood. More or less, they have the same team. It's going to take a little time for new pieces to gel together. But the Nuggets are still kings of the NBA. I really don't see anybody that can really take them down. They're just kind of a very well-rounded team. They still have depth. I know they lost Bruce Brown, but they still have a lot of depth on that team. And everyone's going for him this season. So it's going to be very, very fun to see, if they can get back to the finals. I think it's going to be very interesting. The other game we had, actually opening night, the other game we had was the Warriors game. And it was Warriors-Suns, and the Suns won. Warriors, you can never count out this team. I know they're small, but we've been saying they don't have a real center for years now, and they have been a dynasty. Chris Paul is a really interesting fit. He kind of fits, but he doesn't. He should be like a starting point guard on a team somewhere, but also when he's operating, he can dish out assists and kind of open up the floor a little bit, but you take the ball out of Steph's hands at that point, and Steph is really good with the ball in his hands. So, I don't know, that's like a weird project that's kind of going on there in Golden State. Obviously, they shipped out Jordan Poole, who's going to just, have the green light to just score as much as he wants in Washington, D.C. this year. Definitely, probably top scorer in the league this year. I can't see it really otherwise. We're going to switch gears. The Celtics played the Knicks for their opener. They played in Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks are one of those pesky teams. They're good. They're not title contenders, but they're a very good team, and they play hard. Tom Thibodeau always makes sure that his teams play hard. His teams play, nose to the ground, very tough teams. Jalen Brunson is great. That team is just really good. The C's won 108-104, and Tatum really showed us that this year he's not playing around. He was on the block a lot. He had 34 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And this Celtics team is small, just in terms of not having like a Rob Williams in the middle, right? Just in terms of, I guess, not having like that rough and tough big man. So everyone else is going to have to chip in with rebounds. And they weren't great. They really let the Knicks and Mitchell Robinson kind of get back in the game with rebounds and things like that. So that's going to take time. But Tatum was phenomenal. He really kind of took control. I think this is the year we have serious MVP conversations about him. It was really interesting because you saw his growth last season. And from the beginning of the season to the end, you saw him grow and really just take command of the team. And it was really beautiful to watch. And nothing is more fun than kind of drafting a player and watching him grow into this superstar. It has been so much fun, and I can't wait to keep watching Jason Tatum. Newcomer, I want to focus on Kristaps Porzingis for a second. We have an article up on the website that kind of recaps this game if you want to go check it out. And Kristaps Porzingis, wow. I mean, he had 30 points, 8 rebounds. He had 4 blocks. This guy is 7'2". Okay, so he does have length. He has length. And the one thing is he needs to stay healthy, right? But what we saw the other night when at the end of the game, Jason Tatum got double teamed and Kristaps was wide open at 3-point line, and Tatum passed out, and Kristaps drills what ended up being basically a game winner for the Celtics. And that's what he does. And not only did he drill that shot, but Jaylen Brown was open next to him. So you had a guy starting to try to close on Porzingis, and Jaylen Brown was open. So if Porzingis didn't take that shot, he could have passed it to Brown to take that shot. This is what he does. This is the vision that Brad Stevens had. So as much as it stinks that Marcus Smart is gone and he's going to get the biggest ovation in the world when he comes back, and, you know, I watched Marcus his entire career in Boston. I love Marcus. What Porzingis brings, I mean, you needed to do something, and he adds that layer. He adds that wrinkle. He just pulls everybody out of the paint. He makes it so much easier. I mean, everyone's focused on Jalen and Jason. Boom, Porzingis is right there. Everyone's focused on Derek White or Drew Holiday. Porzingis is right there. It just, Al Horford's in the game, and you just can't forget about any of these guys. It is really something. I will say, the bench is going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on with the Celtics team, because they didn't really contribute at all in the Knicks game. And Emmanuel Quickley, who was a finalist for Sixth Man of the Year last season, poured in like 24 points, and he's going to do that. He's very good off the bench. But it's going to be interesting to see. You need production out of Pritchard and Hauser. Joe's going to take, I think, the first month of the season to play around and see. A lot of NBA coaches do that. It's a really long season. To me, I know people say the NFL is a long season, whatever. To me, the NHL and the NBA are the longest seasons. They just feel the longest. They span so much of the year. You're going October to June. There's so much of the year. There's so much growth that happens. No one's really going to remember what happens in October. But right now, when people are reacting and everything, we're very much in the moment. But teams change. Everything is going to look different at the end of the year. To go off of that, I mean, let's talk about Jaylen Brown, right? He had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Drew Holiday, 9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Which is really, really impressive, the blocks. And Derek White, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. This is your kind of core, right? And then Al Horford, of course, is going to be, if he comes off the bench, that would be really interesting. And given his age, I think that would be probably beneficial to this team. But it probably depends on matchups every night, and whatever Missoula and the squad think is for the best. Holiday was not brought in to be a number 1, number 2 option. He's brought in to be 4 or 5. And him, honestly, giving you like 10 points, a couple assists, a couple rebounds, and I mean, the 4 blocks is really special. And just playing solid defense, that's all you need. He doesn't need to overextend himself. He doesn't need to do anything. Just go be solid. And that's enough. Just play defense. And by him not exerting a lot of energy offensively, I think we're gonna see a really good defensive Drew Holiday this year. Derek White also, same thing. I mean, with the Jays and now Porzingis, White and Holiday can kind of conserve some energy because they're not being asked to do as much. And now you have these 2 guys who are able to do more on defense. And defense is where they shine. So that's really special. I see the vision by Brad Stevens, and the fact that he was just able to do this and understand this is what we need, because this move was not only let's get Porzingis so that he can break the zone in Miami, because I think Brad looked at that Miami loss, and Wick did as well. And Wick is on record saying he needed to change something. I think Brad looked at that loss and he's like, I'm sick of the Miami Heat. I'm going to do something. I'm tired of this. I think everyone's tired of it. So you get Porzingis, who now the zone is, you can't go inside. We dare you to shoot. Okay, Porzingis can shoot. Now what do you do? It's very interesting. But he also brought Porzingis in. I think he's looking at Jokic. I think he's looking at Anthony Davis and Jokic and the bigs in the West. And, I mean, Phoenix, too, right? Phoenix has Nurkic, who isn't going to, he's Nurkic, he's fine. But, you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. You have Porzingis draw everybody out. That's going to make everything look different. He adds such a wrinkle to any team they play across the NBA. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how this progresses throughout the year. It's going to be a lot of fun. They have a lot of pieces to work in, a lot of wrinkles to iron out. Like I said, that bench, Joe's going to have to look down the bench and be like, does he play Svi? Does he play Brissett? What kind of happens? I think this month is going to be a lot of him going through lineups and seeing what's going to work with the bench. And I think he has to leave one of the Jays. He has to leave one of the Jays on the floor when a bench unit isn't. Pull Tatum or pull Brown, but one of them has to be on the floor at all times. That's kind of how I think it has to go. You stagger them, and they're both wings, so I think if you stagger them, it's fine. But the offense, I don't know if it should run through Jalen when he's on the floor. I think when Jalen's on the floor, Drew or Derek should be on the floor, and when Tatum's on the floor, Drew or Derek should be on the floor. It should be one of those guys. I think you have enough where you can stagger that appropriately. But moving forward, the big debut of Victor Wembanyama. This kid, so anticipated. ESPN had crazy ratings for this game. I think it was like 2.9 million people. I was one of them. I really wanted to see what he's about. Everyone does. He looked so uncomfortable in the beginning. He didn't. I think it's a culture shock. It's both him not being from the USA and him being a rookie. He's 19 years old, So I think it was a lot. And toward the end of the game, we saw him settle in, which is phenomenal. And he poured in, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And he's only going to get more comfortable. He's going to get better. He's so exciting to watch. The Spurs might be like a 10 seed, if they can string together enough wins. But they're not going to be like world-changing team, but they're going to be fun. They were so much fun to watch. They have pieces. They're just young. And it's Wemby really put the league on notice because if you get him down on the block to post him up, you can do that because he's tiny, but he's long and he can really alter shots. But the Mavericks won, and the Mavericks added good pieces. Derek Lively II is a rookie, and he really added great energy in that center position, and he was just phenomenal. And obviously, Luka did what Luka does. He had 33 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds, 2 steals. That's what Luka does. And Grant Williams, they picked him up from the Celtics over the summer, and just the Dallas Mavericks, I feel like, should be better than they are, but we'll see what happens this year. They have pieces. Lively is going to be a really interesting piece because my biggest thing with the Mavericks has always been that center position. But if he can come in and really be a contributor consistently, I think he adds a really nice piece of depth to that team. All right, so last night we had 2 more games. We had Bucks and Sixers, and we had Lakers Suns. I'm gonna go Lakers Suns first. The Lakers picked up their first win of the season in their home opener. Anthony Davis bounced back. He had like 30 points. LeBron played over his. He played 35 minutes, which is over his 30-minute time frame. They're not gonna stick to that. Everyone says it every year. We're gonna keep LeBron to a minutes restriction. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. This team needs LeBron to win. Like with LeBron James does not play, this team does not win. It's very easy. It's very simple. LeBron had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. The dude's in his 21st season and he's doing stuff like this. It's really special. But the Suns also ran out of gas. It was no Beal and no Booker, and they don't really have depth at all. And they went ice cold. Just everything. But the Lakers also went ice cold. Just everything was clanging off the rim. So it was a very kind of weird game. I don't think you can really assess either team fairly. I don't think you can assess the Suns fairly because they were without 2 of their 3 big stars. KD had 39 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. He got really tired at the end. If he had hit like 1 shot at the end, I think that would have kind of sealed it. But he just couldn't hit anything. And LeBron did what LeBron does, and he got to the rim, he went downhill, he drew fouls, and he helped the Lakers close out. So we'll see what they're like going forward. We'll see what the Suns look like going forward. But their Booker and Beal have to be healthy, or else this is not going to go as well as they want it to go. Bucks Sixers. We have the debut of Damian Lillard. Very interesting piece. When they traded for him, I did not think he really moved the needle that much. I understand the scoring and everything. I don't trust Middleton's knees. I don't trust Middleton for a full season to be able to come out and say, all right, I'm going to guard the best players and everything. I have my questions about Middleton. The Damian Lillard trade gives them a serious closer. Lillard had 39 points last night. I mean, that's huge, right? He had 8 rebounds, 4 assists. They beat the Sixers without James Harden. Remember that whole saga's going on. 117-118. Giannis had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He takes the pressure off Giannis. He really gives them an offensive threat. When Giannis goes out of the game, now you have Dame. You still have an offensive threat on the floor at all times. This is what he was traded for. The Bucks needed to do something. They looked around and they're like, let's go get him. They traded for him so that Giannis can get some relief, and they have another guy that they can bring in and who can still put pressure on the defense. Defenses can't relax when Giannis leaves the game. And he closed last night. Embiid, I'm going to go to the Sixers now. Embiid had 24 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. Maxey, 31 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Oubre Jr., 27 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal. That's not enough from Joel Embiid. And we know this about him, though. Watching Joel Embiid, he looks miserable when he plays basketball. It's really hard to watch. It's hard to watch it. I think if the Sixers, are kind of subpar or what have you, I don't know. I can see him being frustrated enough to ask out either in February or at the end of the season. They played faster without James Harden. They almost beat the Bucks. And this is my concern with the Bucks. The Sixers are not that good. The Sixers are a good team. The Sixers are still a second-round exit. I think the Sixers would do well if they had... I don't think they have the pieces for this, but to trade for a DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. I think the Knicks as well. I think DeMar DeRozan would be a really good piece on one of those teams. My concern with the Bucks is defense. Perimeter defense, specifically. Drew Holiday was guarding everybody on the perimeter. And my thing with the Bucks and playing the Celtics is Kristaps Porzingis, matches up with who? Giannis? Fair. Al Horford, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday. I don't know if they have enough defenders for all of that. I don't know. They could. That's why when they match up for the first time this season, we're really going to see what happens. And it's going to be very interesting. Because then we're really going to see, okay. But everyone sees Damian Lillard, and it's like, oh my God, they're going to win the East. I don't know. I think it's much more even than people think. I think there are people, national media and stuff are like, the Bucks are miles ahead of the Celtics. I don't think that's accurate. That's not accurate. Let's be realistic here. That is inaccurate. They are much closer than people think they are in terms of, talent level. And it's just, they both have pieces to fit in to figure out. The Celtics have more pieces to fit in. And they have a bench they need to really figure out, because if they don't figure that out, they're screwed. I mean, they really need to get production out of that bench. You lost Malcolm Brogdon. He was coming off the bench and giving you points. He won 6th Man of the Year. So you need to do something there. They need to produce. But the Bucks and Celtics are much closer. It's like, in no particular order, Bucks, Celtics, everyone else. That's how the East is. Everyone's fighting for third and under. But these two teams, we're going to see what happens. I mean, the thing is, Miami's always looming. They're so frustrating. They're always there. The Knicks give the Celtics issues. But what we saw, I want to actually circle back to the Sixers for a second, because I saw something really interesting last night. The Sixers had an opportunity, I feel, to kind of put this game away at stages. Without James Harden, what we're seeing is they don't have a closer. Tyrese Maxey's not a closer. Joel Embiid should be their closer, right? He's not. He can't close. He's not closing games for them. You can't give me 24 points, Joel Embiid. I want 34 points. I don't want 7 rebounds. I want 15 rebounds. his aggressiveness is just, it just doesn't feel like he's mentally really in there. And maybe if they start winning and start being competitive, maybe that changes. He needs to do more than 24 points for this team. He needs 30, and Maxey needs 30 every night to be like, okay, now you have like some threats. And he can't keep running around and being like, where's my foul? Where's my foul? It's like, you're gonna slow the game down, dude. You need to go. You need to speed up, be fast. The Bucks are gonna play you faster. The Celtics are gonna play you faster. It's just not going to work, and you need to be better. We have, at the time of this recording, we have the Celtics with their home opener tonight against Miami. That's going to be interesting. Miami, of course, always puts a scare into all the Celtics fans' hearts and souls. And hopefully they have the tools now. I think Joe Mazzulla has amassed a staff that is ready. But, you look around the landscape of the NBA, I think that we have a lot of teams that are like, all right, they're fine, but they're not anything special. I mean, I know the Memphis Grizzlies traded for Marcus Smart, and he had a really great debut for them, and I'm so happy for him, but they lost Steven Adams for the year. I think Brandon Clark is out. John Morant has his 25-game suspension. That team's not really going to do much. I mean, I think Sacramento would do well with an in-season trade. I think they should look at DeMar DeRozan too. I do. I think that if they are a DeMar DeRozan type guy away from being like really serious, but I also think they need to address their center position. Like, Sabonis is great, but they need like a Dwight Howard type, just like big dude who is just going to get in and play hard and get you rebounds and dunk the ball. And he's like, they have a finesse center. They need a non-finesse center. They need a tougher center. They need like an Aaron Baines, right? Like, just to like toss a name out there. That type of style. I think that they are a lot of fun, for sure. And you look across the NBA, the Clippers played really well. It's just kind of across the NBA, it's just a question of who stays healthy. Whoever stays healthy, that's going to be the biggest battle. Denver was mainly healthy last year, and they won the title. Celtics have to stay healthy, and I really like their chances. Bucks have to stay healthy. Giannis was hurt at the end of the year last year into the playoffs. That's big. Anthony Davis has to stay healthy. That's the big question with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is about 30 years old, and he's a big guy. And LeBron has to stay healthy. And the minutes restriction was put in place because LeBron hurt his foot last year. And they don't want that again. And unfortunately, I think they're just going to revert right back to having him play a bunch, 35 to 40 minutes a night. And he might, I don't know if he'll get hurt. LeBron is a anomaly. He is a freak. He is a monster. His body just, I don't know. It just doesn't really cooperate with time. He has managed to stay healthy, and it's been wonderful to watch because he's wonderful at what he does. Lakers, obviously a team to watch. Suns, when all of them are healthy, we'll see what we're working with, but they're not all healthy right now. Clippers, obviously, they're going to be in the mix if they all stay healthy. They're kind of like a dark horse team to watch. They're not going to pursue James Harden anymore, and they should not. Let that play out how it's going to play out. I think if Kawhi, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook stay healthy, you have Terrence Mann. I think you'll have a deeper team. You don't need James Harden. No team in the NBA needs James Harden and his antics. No one needs it. He's not the player he used to be. He can be good. He's not consistent enough anymore, and he can't be the guy anymore. He can be a complimentary guy, but it doesn't make sense in LA. Like, if I'm the Clippers, I would rather have like Malcolm Brogdon on my team. Yeah, I think Brogdon can come in. He is not going to give you that same level of like chaos that James Harden will. He'll put his head down. He'll work. He was wonderful here in Boston, and if you want him to come off the bench, it won't be his preference, but he can do it. He showed he could do it last year. And he would provide a great spark for that Clippers team. I don't know, financially kind of what their assets are. Well, I don't know what their assets are or financially, kind of what they're looking at, but I think if I'm the Clippers, I'm scouring. Malcolm Brogdon. I'm seeing if Zach LaVine fits in any way. I think those two are pretty good targets for them. And we're just going to have to see what happens with the Clippers. I think they have to do something this year. I don't think they can flame out in the playoffs again. I think it's this year or nothing. They have to at least make a conference final, man. They need to make a conference final. And then we can go from there. But they really have to make their case this year. It's been a lot of injuries, and it's been a lot of, they'll play 20 games, and then, someone's going to get injured. They need to make their case this year. They do. Everyone else, Oklahoma City is kind of the up-and-coming team. We'll see what they do this year. They were in play-in last year, and they were a lot of fun. They get Chet Holmgren back. This is his rookie season. So we have a Chet and Wemby kind of big man rookie of the year scuffle, right? Like, we're going to see who wins rookie of the year between the two of them. I think it's going to be Wemby. I think he's more polished, given his, he's been in the Euro League. Like, he's been in a professional French league. So he's a little more acclimated to, like, being a professional and just kind of how playing professional basketball works than Chet is. But, Chet sat and watched for a year, and watching and learning for a year. Also, we see it in the NFL. You sit a quarterback for a year, you haven't watched. He comes back, he's better next year. Because his IQ is better, because he got to watch for a year and he got to learn that way too. I think Oklahoma City has to make a playoff this year. They just keep accumulating things. And when Danny Ainge would accumulate assets and things, he would get roasted. Oh, when are you going to make a move? Oklahoma City's just been sitting on assets forever. They need to do something. They need to make a move. They are very, very young. And they have a great coach, and they play really hard. They need to start having results. Even if you sneak into the first round. I think that would be great. I think that's that would be a great target for them. I think we're going to see the real emergence of Anthony Edwards this year in Minnesota. I still think Minnesota's kind of this weird middle team where, like, Rudy Gobert doesn't do anything. I know the Knicks are monitoring Karl Anthony Towns. And this is Anthony Edwards' team. I don't know what you do with your bigs if I'm Minnesota, but the fact that this franchise hasn't been able to really kind of figure out a winning formula, even just to get in the playoffs consistently or something, they've been rebuilding forever. This team has got to be, you need to make a decision. You need to bring in more scoring. You need to bring in the fact, they gave up Vanderbilt. They should have never done that. I have just a lot of issues with how Minnesota has run its organization. I think a lot of people do, over the last however many years, 20 years or so. Utah was fun last year. They fell off a little bit. They had a hot start. They fell off. But Danny Ainge knows how to build a team. Danny Ainge knows how to rebuild a team. I think toward the end of his Celtics tenure, he didn't really know the pieces to put around Tatum, and it showed. But Danny Ainge knows how to rebuild a team. He knows how to get assets. He knows how to get contracts. He knows how to get draft picks, young players, and he's the guy I think you would want if you're trying to kind of rebuild. Sam Presti, Danny Ainge, very good at kind of that rebuilding thing and getting assets and things like that. But yeah, we're gonna see some really long season, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. This is kind of my favorite time of the year. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but the World Series is gonna start. The NHL has kicked off. The NFL is in full swing. The NBA has kicked off. You have all 4 sports. There's something on every night. This is my favorite time of the year. We should relish it. Thank you for joining me. Go Celtics. And let's have fun watching the NBA this year.